भी दुश्मन है मेरे रज़ा कहा जल रहा था जला।
अल्हम्दुलिल्लाह मुतवहिदी बिजलालिहिल मुतफर्रिदी वस्सलातुहु दौमन अला खैरिल अनामी मुहम्मदी अम्मा बाद फ़अऊज़ु बिल्लाहि मिनश शैतानिर रजीम बिस्मिल्लाहिर रहमानिर रहीम उलाइका कतबा फ़ी क़ुलूबिहिमुल ईमान व अय्यदहुम बिरूहिम मिन्हु आमन्तु बिल्लाहि सदक़ल्लाहुल अज़ीम इन्नल्लाहा व मलाइकतहु युस्सल्लूना अलन नबी या अय्युहल्लज़ीना आमनू सल्लु अलैहि व सल्लिमू तस्लीमा اللهم صل على سيدنا مولانا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا ومولانا محمد وبارك وسلم وصلي عليه. To the viewers of Takbir TV and our host Qari Ali Muhammad Sahab and our distinguished panelists and ulama of Ahl Sunnah wal Jamaat, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. By the grace of Allah, we are here celebrating one of the men of Allah, one of the Rijal of Allah, who has a transformative effect on not a community of Muslims, not a nation of Muslims, but all the way across the globe. Imam Ahmed Raza Khan's followers, the people that he has touched and connected with, these are spread across the globe. I was looking at some research published in India and Pakistan, and these projections are that the majority of the Muslims in India are from the maslak of Imam Ahmed Rida Khan. And the majority of Muslims in Pakistan are from the maslak of Imam Ahmed Rida Khan. Imam Ahmed Rida Khan is a man that we affectionately, within the sub-competent community, we refer to him as Ala Hazrat. But for us, in essence, he is really Imam Ahl Sunnat. He is the champion of the majority of Muslims for the majority of history in the 13th century. He is the Mujaddid, the Imam Ahl Sunnat wal Jamaat, and an inspiration to people all around the globe. Imam Ahmed Rida Khan, why are we so touched by him? Why are we so enamored by him? First of all, in 2000, when I wrote my thesis on Imam Ahmed Rida Khan, I found that the works that were surveyed, especially in English, the encyclopedias, the people who wrote on the history of India, they left out Imam Ahmed Rida Khan when writing the history, the religious history of Islam in India. People like the German Orientalists, the Mustashrikeen, Belgian, whom he omitted Imam Ahmed Rida Khan. The Encyclopedia Britannica missed Imam Ahmed Rida Khan. Why was all this missed? There's so many people who wrote on the history of India, but they omitted Imam Ahmed Rida Khan. Then a lady called Barbara Metcalfe, she came to India to do some research on what is called Azharul Hind. When she came to do research on Azharul Hind, which is Darul Deoband, she found that wherever she went, Imam Ahmed Rida Khan's name would come up. She came to do a PhD on Darul Deoband, but wherever she went, the name of Imam Ahmed Rida came up. She writes about a 300-page thesis. In that, 90 pages she is forced to dedicate to Imam Ahmed Rida Khan. Then she goes back to America, and she at her university, she asks Usha Sanyal, a Hindu academic, to go back to India, and she is fascinated by this character, by this personality, that the English academic books, the encyclopedia, there seems to be a gap in the history which she wants to be redressed. And then Usha Sanyal, she comes to India, and she spends a lot of time in researching Imam Ahmed Rida Khan. She comes to Karachi, she comes to the Naimia Madrasa there, and studies there with the ulama. She learns Urdu language to study Fatawa Rizviya, and she writes a fantastic account of Imam Ahmed Rida Khan. In her own words, she says that he did the work of 10 muftis. At one time, he will be answering more than 500 questions. Now the question I ask you, why is Imam Ahmed Rida Khan very important to us? Allama Sayyid Kazmi Shah was asked this question, and he said, he taught us the ishq of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and he taught us the adab of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And it is he who told us, who purified our iman for us, the one who taught us how to, in the true way, in the true means to love the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and purified our iman. We honor him, we venerate him, we thank him. Imam Ahmed Rida Khan, he expounded and preserved the Sunni Islamic tradition. Imam Ahmed Rida Khan, he championed the Ahl Sunnah wal Jamaat, the orthodox tradition of the majority of Muslims for the majority of history. Imam Ahmed Rida Khan explained and revitalized Hanfi jurisprudence, Hanfi fiqh and Maturidi theology. Imam Ahmed Rida Khan highlighted the intrinsic link between the love and the obedience of Prophet Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Imam Ahmed Rida Khan taught us about a Prophet-centric Islam, not an Islam which was without any perfume, without any kind of emotion, but a Prophet-centric Islam. Imam Ahmed Rida Khan looked at the Sufi tradition and he showed us that the Sufi tradition itself is the pulse of the Islamic tradition. Imam Ahmed Rida Khan, he revived the intellectual heritage of Islam. We have the two-nation theory. We know before Muhammad Ali Jinnah and Allama Iqbal, Imam Ahmed Rida Khan also concluded the Muslims need to have their own homeland. And also Imam Ahmed refocused on the way of the moderate way. And when you find his writings are fascinating. Imam Ahmed Rida Khan is a person who leaves you in fascination when you study him. When you look at him from any dimension, you're surprised how did he cope with so much. It was he dealt with the attack of the Rafsis and the Tafzilis of his time. It was he who took on the fitna of Qadianat in his time, the Ahmadi everywhere. It was he who took on the fitna of the Deobandi school, who promoted things like, for example, that there could be another prophet after Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, who promoted that there was a possibility that God can lie. The fitna that Allah could create another Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And those people who came down to the level of comparing the knowledge of Allah, of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, with the knowledge of animals and mad people. And he refuted that those people who refuted that after Prophet Muhammad there could be another prophet, and those people who insulted the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And then he had this issue of clarifying bid'ah in light of Holy Quran and Hadith, which had come into some parts of the culture, in particular around the shrines. He took on the modernist Aligarh approach and the Darul Nadwa, and he also took on the Wahhabi Ahl Hadith doctrine. He took so many on. Then I ask you, when their academics come into this country, do you think they want anybody to speak about him? Because whenever his pen rose, he wrote volumes. When he wrote a monograph, for example, Fatawa Ridwiya, his great magnum opus on jurisprudence, Imam Ahmed, it is 23 pages long, over 30 volumes, 800 questions in that jurisprudence book of Fatawa are from the ulama. 800 questions from only ulama. And he addressed those questions from the Hijaz to Yemen, from Syria to Africa, from Africa to Britain. And Imam Ahmed Rida Khan, when he went on his Hajj journey in 1878 and in 1905, he was honored by the ulama of Hijaz. They accepted him as Imam of Ahl Sunnah. They accepted him as his Mujaddid. I would just like to say, the most famous thing that we have to recognize Imam Ahmed Rida is his salam. And translated in the words of Professor Ghiyasuddin Qureshi, he says, "Blessed me, Mustafa, mercy for mankind. Allah's light, the only way to find. Blessed be the King of Kings, whose name instant success brings." And the man who taught me the ishq of Imam Ahmed Rida Khan, so I'll mention one of his poetry. He says, "Shah Ahmed Raza mashhur alam, ishq nabi vich apni masal hasan, mufti waqt Hafiz Quran kari. ilm fazal vich ba kamal hasan, najdi ajavi kamde na sunke, robdar aise pur jalal hasan, arif daim shamshir bakaf hoke, munkaran da karde istisal hasan." Amantu billahi sadaqallahu alazim.